Hey, and welcome to my channel. I'm doing a psychology test. I'm going to see a psychologist now to get what's in here. Double thumbs up. No, it's really just to sort some stuff out. Anyway, the psychologist, who's lovely by the way, has sent me three lots of questionnaires, a battery of tests. I've done one which I think was PTSD or trauma. That had 50 questions. The last one was a bit of a crack up because it said, now I'm a 54-year-old man, and the 50th question was, I have no trouble pretending with children when they are play acting, or something like that. It was a bit silly. It should have had a disclaimer that this is only relevant for kids, I guess, because all the other questions were just lacking an age definition, but that one was clearly designed for kids. I lolled and shared it with my friends saying not appropriate. But anyway, this one is I think an autism spectrum test, which through my life people have said, you're on the spectrum. I actually don't think I am. I think I just have some quirks in which I was just born a quiet kid, raised kind of a bit roughly, and I've just got a few strategies to deal with that which come across as autistic spectrum, but really I just cleave to routine and a few other things. But I might be, who knows. A guy I work with who has recently been diagnosed as autistic. He says that there's more autistic people in the world than there are LGBTQI. He's a redhead, so there's probably more autistic people than redhead. And he's got a beard. He's a bit of a beast. He's a good bloke. For me, I get him. Some people don't. Hey, Anton. Anyway, I'm going to do this test because I have watched a few people do these tests and it's quite insightful, not so much for the answers as the survey gives them, but actually how they navigate through the what ifs and well, yes, and context. And it's interesting because I started to do this and went, wow, I'm actually doing that as well. So there's 78 questions. I'll see if I actually go through all of them with you, me, because I'm here in my kitchen alone, happily alone. Again, day 10,000. Anyway, moving on. So this is called the RAADS-R. So it's RAADS-R. Actually, let's Google that. Oh, one moment. I've got to put a postie on my shirt because it's got a rude word on it. Hello to people in the Northern Territory. See you next Tuesday. What is the RAADS-R test? How's Google with the AI responses of late? Some of them are even accurate. I've had ones that are not accurate. My favourite one so far is, how many leap years have there been since 1970? It gave the answer of 2 in 54 years. Wrong, Google AI. Anyway, so it's called the Ritvo Autism Asperger Diagnostic Scale Revised. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it is what I thought it is. Let's get into the questions, or rather, let's explain. So there's 78 questions. This is 2 of 3. I forget what the first test was called, and we're going to learn what the third one is when I do it. But I quite like the responses here because there are 4 choices, and they are true now and when I was young, only true now, true only when I was younger than 16, never true. So question 1, I am a sympathetic person. Well, I'm not going to say never true because that's not true, but I kind of have to think about being sympathetic. Like if I'm hearing it. I'm going to say true now when I was young. But I can think of times where I'm not sympathetic, like in a macro sense. One-on-one, yeah, no, it's okay, I'm okay. Bigger picture stuff, the world turns, so does the earth. I often use words and phrases from movies and television in conversations. That is so Chandler. I do that. And I think I do it ironically at first, and then over time, unironically, and then I just forget that it's actually a movie phrase and it's just what I say. This mouth, this brain. I can't give examples, but I do that. But not all the time. And it's always contextual. Although funny enough, there was that TV show in the 90s where they did that was the thing. There would be a scene, the guy would have a memory or something, and he would say something and bang, it would be a movie scene. Just a brief snippet. I actually didn't like that show, so much so I don't remember what it was called. We will move on. But anyway, I put that as only true now because I don't remember doing that in the 80s. I mean, I probably did, but, everybody was walking around quoting Marty McFly, Back to the Future, Ghostbusters. It's just what you did. But not in the sense of, like, slipping it into a combo just to go, ha, see what I did there. Question 3. I am often surprised when others tell me that I've been rude. Well, I don't get that very often. I do work in customer service. I sometimes have to tell people things that I know they won't like to hear, that I don't want to say, but truth and necessity override emotions. I might get that in my social setting because sometimes my sense of humour is gross, crass, hurtful. As a measure of explaining that, I think my current favourite comedian is that Scottish guy. Oh, what's his name? He actually looks like Anton. Hey, Anton, the red-headed, bearded, autistic guy from 5 minutes ago. I'm a Scottish comedian. Not Billy. Frankie Boyle. The things he says. And how it stays on YouTube, I don't know. But thanks, YouTube. You're the best. But yeah, but then again, I do shift work, and night shift jokes are different. They're just different. But anyway, also I was raised wrong. The things I've seen. The things I wish I had not seen. And humour was different in the 70s and 80s and 90s and 2000s and up until the #MeToo. It just was. I'm fine with #MeToo. It's fine. The world's a battle and inequality's got to roll over sometime. Sometimes what did I say? I said true now when I was young. Surprised by others' rudeness. No, my rudeness. Sometimes I talk too loudly or too softly and I am not aware of it. I don't remember doing that as a kid. I certainly got in trouble for talking too much out of the wrong spot, and it being a smarty mouth to teachers, rarely to parents because they hit or they were scary. Teachers, they had rules they had to obey, and subconsciously I kind of knew that, but I was also bored. Smart. So yes, but I was also aware of that because they told me, and I got a lot of detention and shifted out of classes because of it. That was when I was 13, 14, 15. But as an adult, over 16, not that I talk too loudly or too softly, that I talk too fast. That's how it feels like. I can catch myself mid-sentence and I'm going, you're out of breath. Why are you out of breath? Stop that. Or that I've talked too much, or that I'm repeating myself, or that I'm losing my words. That might be an old person thing. Anyway, I put only true now. I often don't know how to act in social situations. I put that as never true. I may not be perfect at it. I don't have a lack of confidence when I need to do it. But yeah, I and the word act. Yeah, I can put myself in other people's shoes. Nope. I've got no idea how you're living your life. None. And I don't even think like that. You people look asleep to me. Like, not on autopilot, but I do this because I'm like, what's behind that? I don't know. I know what this thing's doing. Yours? No idea. None. So yeah, I got no idea. When you're talking to me and giving me faces and yeah, I get a bit of an idea, but what are you thinking when you go to the toilet? I'm not going to tell you what I'm thinking, but, I don't know. What are you thinking? My brain doesn't stop. Is yours? I wish mine would sometimes. But anyway, yeah, I have no idea. Funnily enough, in the 90s, I put together a collection of my poetry, and I called it Ever Wish You Were Somebody Else, because it was poems about other people, but it was all about my perspective about those people and the situations that I knew them in. They were friends, family, that. Most people were quite praiseworthy, but one or two people were not, because my perspective on their life was not quite what they thought. And they may have just been the honest ones. Other people might have been, who the hell is this crazy a-hole writing these poems about me and misrepresenting my humanity? I mean, they were good poems, I think. They were well-intentioned, but yeah, a few people were like, nope, that's wrong. That's not what? Anyways, but yeah, so though I can do poems like that, actually sitting here now thinking, the lady that took my blood test this morning, what was she thinking? I mean, she was telling me about her family and holidays to Bali. That was just conversation. No idea. I have no idea what you people are thinking. All 8 billion of you. I have a hard time figuring out what some phrases mean, like, you are the apple of my eye. No, that's just words. Unless somebody makes one up on the spot, which sometimes I do, and it's a bit awkward sometimes. So that's never true. I only like to talk to people who share my special interests. I actually have, because I should explain. I've already done a few of these answers, but now that I am redoing it, I don't actually like that I put only true now. And this is the difficulty is special interests. I have lots of special interests, some of which I'm not going to talk about publicly because I get the impression that they're a bit, I don't know, hardcore music is a current interest, but also it's not an interest. I just listen to that music. And I've actually tried to talk to some people about that special interest. They don't want to talk about it. But then other people that I talk to have way more interest than I do. They know more. So I don't talk about it because I don't actually know much. I don't know. Is this making sense? Yeah, that's a tricky one. Only true now. No, I reckon I can talk to anyone. It's just that I tend not to want to talk to everyone, especially if everyone is people I don't know. Now, I will talk to people I don't know if I have to, or the silence is going to break me in two and I might fall apart right at that moment. But otherwise, no, I'll put that as never true. I focus on details rather than the overall idea. See, this context, I need context on this one. What does that mean? I focus on details rather than the overall idea. The fact that I'm focusing on the details of this question may be the answer. But was it true before I was 16? Man, that was a long time ago. Like, do you remember acid wash jeans? Hypercolour t-shirts? You could buy guns in Kmart in Australia in the 80s. I remember that. But do I remember who I was? I don't know. I was just this scared kid trying to get through family dinners, wake up the next morning, not have wet the bed, and then go to school not getting bullied. Rinse and repeat. And I was hungry a lot. So, where was I? Oh, yeah. Is it true for younger Paul than it is for now Paul? And isn't even a question I understand or can answer. I focus on details rather than the overall idea. I don't know. I feel like I can do both. Why can't you do both? Soft and hard tortillas. I'm going to write never true. I always notice how food feels in my mouth. This is more important to me than how it tastes. Now, when I saw this question, I thought, this is a good question because my sense of eating is rarely about flavour or smell. I can have a meal that in front of my face with implements in it, this Sharpie is a spoon, and I'm eating soup. Imagine. And I'm putting it to my mouth and my nose, and it's ramen with, taichongo and miso and kelp and the shebang. Probably sardines. I like sardines in my ramen. I will not be able to smell that or taste it. But someone 3 cubicles away at work, because sometimes I eat my ramen at my desk. Who doesn't? Because you don't want ramen slopping all over the keyboard. People 3-4 meters away can smell this soup. I cannot. New, unique flavors, yes. But I think the question's gearing towards, well, put it this way. I do not like eating cooked onions. Cooked brown onions make me gag. And my mouth knows the difference between cooked onion and cooked capsicum. Unless I've been tricked like I have been by the onion cartel, and they exist. Onion lovers do not like onion haters, which is fair because onion haters do not like onion lovers. It's a broken world. One layer at a time. Anyway, so onions, not a fan. But other foods, yeah. I mean, I know what they feel like because that's my main experience of food is texture and temperature. Oh, and sort of that chili heat. Actual flavour? Nope. Is it not smart? So I put true now and when I was young. I miss my best friends or family when we are apart for a long time. I put this as a very quick, never true. That may seem heartless, but that's just because I think about them, I miss them, but I don't go visit often, and I don't have visitors. Even when I was younger, I was never someone I would want you to visit me. One, because I wasn't too proud of the house I lived in, and there was a noisy, grumpy man in the house. There was a lot going on, so I tended not to want visitors, and I've retained that as an adult. So I do think about my friends and family, the living ones, the dead ones. I just don't go out of my way to catch up. Drop in, let's have coffee. I don't do that. When I was in my 20s, there was socialising going on everywhere. But in my 30s, a fair bit. 40s, not so much. 50s. And also most of my friends now, I got friends 4,000 Ks away. I got friends 2,000 Ks away. One guy, hey JB, he's about 20,000 kilometres away. He is visiting in February. We're going to see Lorna Shore, Knotfest, and a lot of entertainment in Sydney. So much entertainment in Sydney. I put that as never true, but not a heartless, I never think about them. Sometimes I offend others by saying what I am thinking, even if I don't mean to. This is tricky because I always think of my work situation and then my work colleague situation. Whereas family and friends, that's not an issue because, well, one, they're accepting up to a point. They know me, and in some cases they have known me for decades, 5 in the case of my elder sister. Sometimes I offend others by saying what I am thinking, even if I don't mean to. So it kind of feels like the question is, do you have a brainless mouth? Which I do. I actually have, of the last few years, have called it blathermouth. It's just like this lathery, soapy, frothing noise. I'm not rabid in how I'm talking. I'm just talking way more than I want to be. And but strangers, do I do that to strangers? Sometimes when I'm stressed enough, and if you get in my way, sometimes my internal monologue of please get out of my way leaps onto my tongue and out my mouth with the volume of speed of voice. I'm never proud of that, but it does happen. But I put that, what did we put that as? Sometimes I offend others by saying what I'm thinking, even though I don't mean to. How do you not mean to, though? I put that as true now when I was young, but I'm actually going to change that to never true because that's hyper context. So most of the people that I talk with know, even the customers. Like I rarely get a customer that pushes back and tells me that what I've said is like mean. Sometimes they'll say that what I've said is not what they wanted to hear. They won't use those words, but that's how I'm interpreting what they're saying. That's not how I'm interpreting this question. This is just bullet a gate into the china shop, smashing all the cutlery. Nana's crockery is destroyed. No cup of tea with the Mad Hatter. That was a very big metaphor It was just, wow. Anyway, moving on. Question 13. I only like to think and talk about a few things that interest me. But I do like talking to other people about their interests. I can ask a lot of questions. I think in my own brain, the peak fame of my ability to ask questions was I spent about 2 hours at a party sitting across this couple, and the lady, she did something that I didn't know much about. I asked her questions for about 2 hours. 2 hours. Now, she was able to keep talking, and never once did I think she was bored or dying of exhaustion. God knows what the debrief at home was like with her boyfriend. I'm not sure what. But yeah, 2 hours, just questions. I can do that to anybody if I have the energy and the oomph and the context and it's safe and all that sort of stuff. So, and in fact, I have trouble generating momentum to talk about my own things for that length of time. Not 2 hours. No way I could not do that. I could if I needed to, but I would have to do a lot of preparation. See, I'm going to change that answer again because I wrote true now when I was young, but now that I've talked to you, dear subscriber, I'm going to change that to never true. Because even as a kid, like we went to Ballarat one time in primary school, which would have been the late 70s. Yeah, it would have been the late 70s, so I would have been 8 or 9. And most of my class, my class was asked, we went to a train museum or something. I don't remember exactly. It was a long time ago, 40 odd years ago. And the presenter did his presentation, showed us around, pointed at a few things, and he asked us, do we have any questions? No one in my class asked questions, but this hand went up more than once. So yeah, that's, I'm going to put never true. And for 2 reasons. One, I can be interested in anything you're interested in as long as you're willing to answer my questions. And 2, I don't actually like talking about what interests me so much. I can, if you ask me, but you would have to be like me and just keep asking me questions. Because if you didn't, I wouldn't elaborate so much. Where are we? Question 14. God, this is 28 minutes. I'm only up to question 14. This is test. I hope this doesn't time out. I hope it doesn't time out. It won't time out. It won't time out, will it? Where are we? Question. I'd rather go eat at a restaurant by myself than with someone I know. I mean, I could do both. No, I wrote never true, and I said never true rather quickly because I'm like, well, yeah, I can eat at a restaurant by myself. I have done since my 30s. Funnily enough, before that, I couldn't. The thought of eating out at a restaurant by myself before my 30s I would have felt like the whole world was looking at me. In fact, I still remember, even now, the first time I did it was in Esperance on a road trip from Bunbury, where I lived in the 2000s, to back home to Geelong. In the 2000s still. It's a long car journey, so it only took a few days, not a few years. It felt like a few years. Oh my God. Anyway, back to the story, Paul. The story is that I'm travelling by myself on this big road trip, and I needed food, and the only place in Esperance that was open at that time was the restaurant associated with the hotel I stayed at, and I had to sit there at a restaurant table by myself. And I felt like everybody was looking at me for the entire meal. But after that, now it's like, I don't know. And look at it now. People will go to restaurants and they're by themselves, but they've got their camera on like I do now. I'm not at a restaurant. I'm just in my kitchen. Good kitchen. I make decent food sometimes. You'll never get invited to my kitchen though. That's the trick. Where was I? I'm lost. But yeah, people now, they've got cameras out, they're doing FaceTime with family. The world's a different place. So the concept of being alone at a restaurant is, but I think the subtext of the question is, do you prefer that? No, I've had a choice to go out and eat with somebody. I'd rather go out and eat with somebody. So I put that as a quick never true. This is another one of these. So question 15. I cannot imagine what it would be like to be someone else. I put that as a straight up true now and when I was young. Who are you people? I don't know. I have been told that I am clumsy or uncoordinated is question 16. I'm going to change this. I did put it as true now and when I was young. Because again, in revisiting the question, I'm thinking of different contexts and I'm going on a volume or a higher percentage, lower percentage. I don't actually recall being told, was I clumsy? It felt like it, and it feels like it now more. Oh, excuse me, I've got a notification on my phone. Be gone. Yes, I'm going to change that, and I don't even get told. I'm going to have to put that as never true because mostly I have been told that I have been told could be once. I'm pretty sure I've been told once. I've told myself a few times. The older I get, Lord, bumping into things, dropping things. Do you know how many times I plug my phone in to charge it and don't turn it on at the wall? Shameful. Like, really shameful. Why is this battery still at 17%? This idiot didn't. Anyway, 17. Others consider me odd or different. This was a very fast true now when I was young. Yep. Weirdo. Like in a nice sort of phrasing or tone. Weirdo. Some people that don't know me, not so much, but sometimes I get the impression that with strangers I'm easy to dislike, even though I've done nothing. I've randomly been beaten up a few times, a couple of times for no reason. Even at school, got beaten up. Why? No idea. Like it could be a memory thing and I'm forgetting details. But anyway, I put that as true now when I was young because, I've always been told you're not normal. Normal? What is normal? Please. Which culture, which time? Name it. Name it. You will, but it'll just be the little box that you live in. And all the other boxes outside you aren't normal. There's more boxes outside you. More metaphors. This guy's a poet. Anyway, 18. I understand when friends need to be comforted. I put this in the box of never true. And I kind of did that a bit quickly with the mouth, like whoosh. But it's not so much that I lack understanding. It's more sometimes like what I don't know what to do, and it's hard to explain. But that whole hugging, there. I don't feel like it's natural to me, and there's something in me that's hard to put into words. Genuinely, I can't verbalize it. It feels like I don't want to. That sounds horrific, but that's not exactly it either. It's hard to explain. Okay, if you're crying, I know you're upset. And I've had cases where people are upset and they don't want to be comforted. Welcome to my family. It's true. Some people are upset and they don't want to be comforted. Don't touch them. Just hang out. True. So I have an understanding, but there's a barrier or a deeper understanding and an awkwardness. 19. Oh, this was an easy, never true. This is about clothing. I am very sensitive to the way my clothes feel when I touch them. How they feel is more important to me than how they look. No. Well, I've put on 20 kilos in the last 4 months. I don't like how those clothes feel, but that's just because I've got a bigger belly. Question 20. I like to copy the way certain people speak or act. It helps me appear more normal. Yes and no. Not across the board. Who I am is who I am. However, I have had times in my life where I've gone, you know what? I like the way they do this, so I'm going to try and be like them. And in one case, I actually modelled myself on a friend, our ex-friend, 20 odd years ago, when I moved interstate, new postcode. But sincerely, I thought, okay, this is an opportunity to be different, try something different. And I did. Not everything about that person, but just a sense of dressing, just a few different things. And yeah, I did do that. And also, this is, I put this as only true now because I don't recall doing it as a kid, but like you imitate your mates, you pick up characteristics from your family. So I only put only true now. One, because I have had an instance where I definitely have done that. It was a conscious thing to do it. But also I have noticed over time that I have caught myself doing what somebody else does because their phrasing's good. And where I work also, and this is where this question is difficult, where I work, customer service, you will hear somebody say something to a customer and you know they're having the same call as you have 10 times a day, but you notice that phrasing is really good. You know it will work. So you take their phrasing or their pausing or their tone. So that's a difficult one. I don't think that's autistic. That's just me being strategic about trying to make my work day better for my customers. Anyway, yes, okay, so we'll do a few that I haven't actually answered yet because we're now up to question 21. It can be very intimidating for me to talk to more than one person at a time. My initial response is true now and when I was young, but like I didn't have a problem talking to my classmates after a while, because after a while I knew them initially, yes. That first few days of class are challenging. Or school, or a new school, or having to go up in front of the whole assembly to get an award. Or even now, at work, I feel I probably have a reputation that I am energetic and can easily talk to people. But if you put me in a training room with 20 people, I might have a panic attack. It's happened. I actually don't do training at my work anymore by choice, even though I nearly became a trained teacher. and I nearly became a trained teacher in the late 90s. I had to pull out because there was a death in the family. And also, I'm really good at lesson plans and that sort of stuff. Class control, no. And I don't mean keeping the kids in line. I just mean getting the kids from A to B. Start a class to end a class. Start a lesson to end a lesson. A little bit of chaos, not a little bit of chaos. And what I'm describing there is some classes are chaotic, noisy. Some classes are silent and don't talk to you. Both of those, how do you, But so I didn't become a teacher because I had 50% of the skills, and also it's a hard job. If people say that teaching is a lazy, overpaid, rah job, liar. It's a hard job. Yes, you don't go to school during semester breaks, but you're still doing stuff. You get the normal breaks like any other worker, but it's a hard job. You're always on. Always. You've got 15 to 20 or however many kids the class sizes are these days. Always on. And from what I've been told culturally the last few years or decade or however long, parent teachers, God. Your child is not God. There's 8 billion of those things that you made running around. But anyway, that's just a political opinion. We'll move on. Where was I? I hope there's a question about not keeping on track. Where was I? Oh yeah, so I did start to build skill and reputation at my work in the early days. I've been doing this job for 25 years now. So I did start to get opportunities to do training. And for a while I was good, and then I wasn't. I can distinctly remember being in a training group with another trainer. Thank God she was there. Middle of the session or whenever in the session, I actually had to speak quietly to her and say, can you take over? Because I'm having a panic attack and I haven't done training since. I recently actually got asked to do a training at work, only a small session, just based on a couple of, or one thing that I'm at work that I'm very passionate about and also apparently good at. And my supervisor said, such is your goodness that we should get you in to do the training. And I went, no. And he went, moolah. And I went, no. All I pictured was having a panic attack in front of 20 strangers who looked upon me as someone knowledgeable or should have knowledge and skill and ability. No. So what was the question? It can be very intimidating for me to talk to more than one person at the same time. I can talk to groups, like friends, family. I can even shush people if in a big enough group, but it has to be it has to be context. Am I in my safe space? Work. Am I in my safe space? Family. Am I in my safe space? Friends. Yes. Quiet! Wait! Sometimes at the football, but I don't really do that much anymore because people don't like being shush at the football. And not that I was shushing, I was banter. Swear words. So I'm going to write, I have to do never true because there's so many contexts where it's not true. I have to act normal to please other people and make them like me. No, I don't do that. I don't fully allow who I am on the inside to get out because what's in there is a monkey brain and it's sometimes it's just a monkey brain. And I don't want to act abnormal either. I want to go full Borat mode in the street. I don't even know how he does that, and he's an actor. I did watch Grimsby the other day. I haven't watched a Sacha Baron Cohen film for a long time because they are well outside my ability to... I like a decent... I like humour. Clearly I like Frankie Boyle, chaos, but there's a sense of control. He doesn't have control, but Grimsby, there was a lot of awkward moments, but I did find myself crying with laughter at a couple. I won't say what, because even though I'm monetized, I'll be demonetized. YouTube, do not steal my money. Anyway, so act normal. Is that true when I was a kid? Like, you always have to act normal. I grew up in a house where you had to act a certain way, otherwise there was consequences. Yellings. Boojah! So I'm going to write never true. Meeting new people is usually easy for me. I'm going to write never true. Never true because it's mostly true, but not wholly true. I always say that my default setting is shyness, and that's how I think I was born. Shy and quiet. I was just raised in a very noisy, chaotic, turbulent household. So I've had to learn skills, but some of those skills don't retain. Making eye contact has mostly retained, although I don't know which eye or eyebrow of yours to look at. Sorry if it's your eyebrow. I don't know. But at least I'm looking in your eye area, whereas previously I would look at your neck or your shoulder. Where was I? Meeting new people is usually easy for me. No, it's not. My default setting is shyness. If I get introduced to people, then yes. And I have developed a trick over the last maybe 10 or 15 years where I tell myself, act as though and talk as though and use the same tones as you do with people you know to people that you don't know. So, like the lady that took my blood this morning, it's a nothing situation really, but it's the most recent one. Well, I just talked to her like I kind of knew her, but I didn't. Never met her in my life. She was good with needles, by the way. I won't show. Oh, there it is. And they always say, "Oh, it'll just be a little prick," and in my head I just go. Didn't feel a thing, and I watched it go in. I'm so tough like that. But yeah, so I just talk like I know them, but I can't always do that. In fact, sometimes I just feel like I don't have the energy to even engage, unless I have to, like with the needle lady, take my blood. If I'm walking through a shopping centre or at work with people I don't know, it's not rudeness, it's just the energy, the effort, and the not knowing how is not always easy. So meeting new people is easy. No, never true. I get highly confused, this is question 24, 49 minutes in. I get highly confused when someone interrupts me when I am talking about something I am very interested in. If you were to replace the word confused with swear word annoyed as opposed to highly confused, yes. True now, and when I was young. Well, actually, is that true when I was young? Man, when I was young was so long ago. Even 15 is 40 years, 4 decades. True now. But again, going back to the question up there, I don't often talk at length. I'm just picturing, again, at work or family or friends, if I'm talking and then bang, somebody butts in, I'm like, ugh. And my family does it. In fact, I've come to love it, so I don't hate it. Don't think that. I love my sisters and my nieces and my nephew and my brother-in-laws and all the people. I'm picturing sitting around with all of us eating, or we're about to eat or whatever. There's probably 16 of us. Let's go with 16. 17, because that's my favourite number. I'll start to say something. A sister will chime in with their a comment about the same situation. Then another one, and then another one, and another one, another one. And I'm just sitting back there like, my sentence is half done. And then it gets forgotten. And I'm sitting there like, you rude buttholes. I didn't get to finish my sentence. And the thing is too, it's not merely just a volume for volume addition. It's a higher volume addition. And then a higher one. It gets very noisy. It's very entertaining. Very entertaining. And sometimes it's fun just to sit back and watch it happen. Because it'll be not only higher at one volume, it'll not be an add-in at higher volume, but it'll be an add-in at higher volume and worse. It's like that scene from that Monty Python skit where we went down mine at 8 o'clock in the morning and didn't get home until 10 o'clock at night. No dinner, straight to bed. And then old mate jumps in, goes, sounds like luxury. And then goes in and says how they never got to sleep, never got to eat, just always mining. Not exactly, but that's what happens. But yeah, so with my family, I don't, unless I'm saying something important. But if I'm saying something important, they do butt in, I'll usually rewind. I'm going to finish my sentence, but not like that. At work, it's usually people butting in again, because, and I do this too. You butt in because you want to say a joke, or you butt in because you know where it's going, or you think you know, and you want to chime in with your contrary stance. This happens at my work often enough. It usually comes about because the people are very knowledgeable, a lot of experience. So that happens. They've seen many things 1,000 times. But there's still times where you go, I need to finish the second half of my sentence. But again, it's a safe space. So if I need to finish the second half of my sentence, I will make sure that the second half of my sentence is heard. Sometimes I'll have shaking hands, but I'm still doing it. Where was I? So no, I don't get highly confused. And I think this question is kind of gearing towards, I'm so focused. Oh my God, what was I doing? No, I can go back. I think. I mean, I don't fly planes. How is that relevant? That was not relevant. I get highly confused when someone interrupts. I'm going to write never true. It is question 25. It is difficult for me to understand how other people are feeling when we are talking. Yes. Sorry. One, if I'm talking, I kind of am not, my eyesight's gone. I'm in the moment of, I'm actually in the back of my head, actually working really hard on the phrasing, on getting a reaction from you, which is usually either going to be funny or, oh, Paul's so smart, or a couple of other things. But actually your face, nope. Sorry, I'm not ignoring you. It's not an ignoring thing. It's literally just I am so focused on the words and the speaking. Well, actually just the phrasing. My vision's gone. So if your face is like, or I may not see that unless you talk or move. Then I'll go T-Rex on you and go, "Grrr," and then bang, I've got eyesight again. When you're talking, as I said up above, I'm looking at your eyebrow or your left eye, and then in my brain I'm going, should I be looking at the right eye? Do people look at both eyes? And then all of a sudden I go, oh, that's right, you're meant to be listening. And I am, but I'm also listening in my brain, be completely confused about what I'm meant to look like as a human being listening to you as another human being. Isn't life fun? True story. And yeah, not all the time, but enough. Enough. It's a wild ride. Anyway, so is it difficult for me to understand how other people are feeling? But just the emotional content itself. If you're telling a funny story and laughing, I think you're enjoying it. If you're telling a sad story and not enjoying it, yes, also. But if you're not giving me very obvious signs, I don't know. What if they're lying to me? Don't know. I'm just basing that on, does this story seem to go step by step? Yep. So I'm going to put that as true now when I was young. Question 26. I like having a conversation with several people. For instance, around a dinner table, at school or work. Well, yes, I wrote that before. And I think I even liked that as a kid. Yeah, that can be fun. You know, observing or participating. 27. I take things too literally, so I often miss what people are trying to say. What does this question mean? I take things too literally. Well, I know what metaphors are. I know what jokes are. Sarcasm, I know what that is, mostly. Unless I don't know you, then I won't know your version of sarcasm. So I often miss what people are trying to say. Oh, true story. It's a little bit R-rated, but I'll try and wash it down. But it is very indicative of how I can be dumb to my own detriment. So I was at a party many years ago, met a lady, and we liked each other. There was a lot of alcohol, but we still liked each other. And anyway, we actually ended up spending the night on a couch each, different couch, at that house. It was a mutual friend's house. Well, one thing led to another, and we ended up sharing a couch. Nothing untoward happened, children. It was just two adults sharing a couch for warmth. In fact, I think that's pretty much how the con began. Oh, it's cold. Oh, really? Do you want my blanket? No, but can I on your couch? Why, yes, you can. Anyway, so that part I was very clear on. I got that. The next morning we had breakfast. My friend was all, hey, and his wife was all like, hey. And we were like, hey. Anyway, she said she would come around to my house later that afternoon. She had something to do. I went home. There was a Goldilocks in my bed. I kid you not, this is a true story. An absolute true story. So you thought this story was about one mess up. No, it's about two. There was a woman in my bed when I got home. Now, I knew this woman. I knew this woman. I won't say where, because that's not important. It's a different time. It's a different postcode. She's broken into my house because she said she didn't have taxi money. She was at a party nearby. So she knew that I lived there. And she came to my house. I wasn't home because, well, I was at a friend's house. sleeping on his couch. So she's broke into my house instead of walking to her house, which admittedly I think it would have been a fair walk, and she was drunk. So she smashed into my house, broken window, and got into my bed and fallen asleep. Now, this lady and I did have some non-adult relations history, but there was some adult relations type history. So, what did I do? I drove her home. That's part one of this tragedy. Need I state the obvious? Yes, the obvious is actually the obvious that you're thinking. There was a reason she was in my bed, and I was actually focused on the broken glass and having to drive her home and did not get why she was in my bed. Fast forward to about 2 o'clock that afternoon, and the other lady comes to my house, and I, like a gentleman, make coffee. We sit at my kitchen table drinking coffee, and she asked me we were talking for 15, 20, 30 minutes. It was enough to drink a coffee. And she says, "Oh, what star sign are you?" I said, "Oh, Scorpio." She goes, "Oh, I hear Scorpios are really good at adult relations type things." And I said, "I've never heard that." And then 15 minutes later, I drove her home. Folks, welcome to humanity. So, I take things too literally, so I often miss what people are trying to say. And look, I don't have many other stories like that in my life. I either don't notice that I'm not noticing, which is possible. I can imagine that happens. Although I'm an arrogant little sod, so I like to think I'm so smart. I'm not. But I don't have many other stories like that where... Oh, actually, no, another one. And this is even better, but not in the adult level world. When I was a precocious grade 1, so 6, 7 years old, we had a step-in teacher. She had to leave the classroom for something, and me, being the Mr. Asking Questions guy, said to her, "Where were you?" Not demanding, I was just curious. Where did you go? What did you do? She goes, "I went to the principal because there's a new spelling for Wednesday." There's a new spelling for Wednesday? What? No way. I didn't react like that, but the reaction is to cater to what happens next. Fast forward 4 decades. Not 1 day, not 1 year, not 1 decade, but 4 decades. 40 years of walking down the street thinking of that interaction that I went, "Oh wait, she was being sarcastic. There's only been 1 spelling Wednesday." I collect dictionaries. I read dictionaries. I rate etymology as a hobby. It's not, but if you mention the word etymology, I'm in. 4 decades to realise that she was being sarcastic to this little precocious little 6-year-old busybody who should have been minding his own damn business. And she's hit me with a 40-year brainbuster. Actual true story. Oh, and I laughed then as I laugh now. Oh. I honestly don't get people that cannot enjoy their own stupidity because, come on. Can you imagine if the story about the adult things was the 2 adult sessions in one day? Ron Jeremy would be laughing for joy at that story. And as for the 40-year sarcasm story, who wouldn't enjoy that story? The whole internet. That's who. I mean, no, you're meant to enjoy it, the whole lot. That's a new spelling for Wednesday. What? Where were we? I take things too literally, so I often miss what people are trying to say. I'm actually going to put that as... I know those stories are huge, but they don't feel comprehensive to my personality. It's just... I'm going to have to put it's true now and when I was young. It is very difficult for me to understand when someone is embarrassed or jealous. Ooh, this is tricky because they're very specific emotions. I get a feeling, my gut feeling is that I think I can tell jealousy better than embarrassment. But I don't hang around people that often express those emotions, so what do they mean? Or is the actual question, it is very difficult for me to understand when someone is embarrassed. Oh, do they mean like, why would you be embarrassed? Or who the hell gets jealous, man? I'm not jealous of anybody. Except all the very rich people out there. All the good-looking ones. All the ones who have stories about 2 adult sessions in one day with 2 different people. I think they mean that. No, I'm going to say never true. Because, I get why you would be embarrassed. Not everybody's going to enjoy telling a story about not understanding a school teacher's sarcasm for 4 decades. Never true. Question 29. We'll wrap this up soon because my bladder says that it's about time to wrap it up. Old man bladder. It's a real syndrome. Seek professional advice if you're suffering. Some ordinary textures that do not bother me are... it's not just my bladder, it's my... Some ordinary textures that do not bother others feel very offensive when they touch my skin. Never true, but when I was a kid, I used to like smooth, silky things. So I had a safety blanket, and my mum says that I would just go around and touch the edges of it. And I tend to like smooth things now, but my house isn't made of silk or satin. Some ordinary textures that do not bother others feel very offensive when they touch my skin. No, all right, never true. 30. I get extremely upset when the way I like to do things is suddenly changed. Well, who wouldn't? If it's a good way, it should stay the way, shouldn't it? I am having a problem at the moment, which might elucidate this question for me and you, Divya, who's playing along. 30 questions into 78 of the second of 3 surveys of 3 of... I don't know where I'm going. I'm blather tired and I need to go to the toilet. At the moment, sometimes when I log into work, my 2 or 1 of my 3 screens won't show up. It's a known Windows issue. We use Surface Pros, so I've got a logging dock and it doesn't, and you've got to unplug this, or you've got to, shift Windows Control B. I don't do that because I'm an atheist and I shouldn't be so disrespectful, but I swear, and in my head I am raging. In fact, I think it went on so long and I got so so out of the zone, which might actually go back to another question. It took an hour for my screens to rejig, and I think it actually required a new Service Pro. That was not a good night. But that's not a new thing. That's dealing with things that break. A new thing? No, I get a bit stressed I get a bit stressed and then panicked in some contexts. But I can pick up the flow quickly enough. I get extremely upset when the way I like to do things is suddenly changed. All right, never true. Okay, we'll do a couple more and then we'll bail. 31. I have never wanted or needed to have what other people call an intimate relationship. Wow. Have you ever had the potential to have an intimate relationship with two people in one day? To summarize my dating and relationships up until from adulthood, I usually describe it as it took me a long time to get off the conveyor belt and realize that I don't actually need to be in a relationship. My apologies to my 2 ex-wives, several ex-girlfriends. It took a long time, and on looking back, yeah. That said, though I live alone and don't date, haven't had a girlfriend for what decade is it? Long time. And I generally don't get lonely. I don't like being alone. And actually the prospect of being alone as I get older, particularly forwarding, 10, 20 years, that sounds pretty, yeah. So yeah, when I was in my teens, oh God, yeah, I wanted a girlfriend like nothing else. And I didn't even know what the adult relationship thing was. Well, I did, because the house I grew up in was pretty, but I just wanted a girlfriend. And then when I got a girlfriend, it was like, wow. And marriage, not so much. But again, there were things I was saying that, looking back now, you go, dude, how could you not see that? And things I was thinking, I was like, dude, how could you not see that? But then I got married again, and nearly got married. Well, I didn't nearly got married, but I was very long term with a couple of other people. But I don't know, there was an awful lot of shit for me and them, and I can't speak to what was shit for them, but I know I gave out shit as well. But it's not that I didn't want to be, but now I had Tinder about 10 years ago. I didn't like that. I had a couple of dates with a couple of nice people, but it's like, so no. And now that I'm near retirement, it's like, no. And that sounds terrible, but, there are things in the world that can compensate that. But I do sometimes miss just hanging out with somebody on a couch, or just being a dickhead in an intimate relationship in a good way. Sorry, YouTube, I swore. Okay, one more question. So, what was it? I never wanted... So, no, that's never true. It is difficult for me to start and stop a conversation. I need to keep going until I'm finished. 74 minutes later. Question 32. Difficult for me to start and stop a conversation. I need to keep going until I'm finished. Well, yeah, if it's one or two important sentences that I feel I need to say, yeah, if I don't get to finish that, I'll either make it so that I will, or will be pretty unimpressed. But that's usually just a social dynamic where either I'll just have to wrangle the situation back to the second half of my sentence, or just deal with whatever, bikie gang won't let me finish my 2 sentences. Because if they didn't want me to finish my 2 sentences, that bikie gang can do what they want, frankly. Not that I've ever interacted with a bikie gang, but you get my point. It's social context. But in general, I don't talk in paragraphs. I don't talk in chapters. You're going to get witticisms and answers, and I'm going to write never true. We'll go to question 35 because that feels like an even number, because that's important. I speak with a normal rhythm, never true. The same sound, colour or texture can suddenly change from very sensitive to very dull. Oh. Well, this question came out of the blue. The same sound, colour or texture can suddenly change from very sensitive to very dull. Are we talking about how I feel about it? Sometimes cold weather makes me sad. Well, I don't know. I'm going to write never true because I just don't understand or can't put my brain into any context. Final question. The phrase, I've got you under my skin, makes me uncomfortable. I've got you under my skin. Don't we say, you've got under my skin? Well, I don't like that phrase because it makes me uncomfortable because it's wrong. When have you ever said, I've got you under my skin? I've got you around my pinky finger. You're getting under my skin. I'm getting hot under the collar. I'm getting uncomfortable with this question. I've got you under my skin makes me uncomfortable. The phrase, I've got you under my skin, makes me uncomfortable. What? Well, it does make me uncomfortable because it's wrong. Like, I've never heard that in my life. I've got you under my skin. Or do they mean... I don't know what... I'm going to write never true. Oh, wait, no, I'm going to write... Well, I'm only going to write only true now. Like, right now. Hypothetic. Oh, what do you mean? The phrase, I've got you under my skin, makes me uncomfortable. I'm missing something key here. I've never heard that phrase in my life. I've got you under my skin. I've got you under my skin. Well, it's only true now because, I don't... Okay, I'm just going to... Okay. So, thank you for watching me for... Crikey, 80 minutes. This is going to take forever to upload. For the RAADS-R, the... what was it? The Ritvo Autism Asperger Diagnostic Scale Revised Test. Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.